Hi everyone, it's me, Jen, and I'm nothing if not intense. Spotlight MARILOU DANLEY. I've been thinking about MARILOU and why her player's card was found in the room. Why would Paddock use her player's card when he was gambling? Why would they let him check into a room under her name? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because it didn't happen that way. MARILOU DANLEY, I believe, was at Mandalay Bay. She was there during the time of this incident. I ran across this yesterday, and it's a news channel out of Detroit, and they had retweeted the LVMPD's tweet about looking for MARILOU DANLEY as a suspect or a person of interest. If anybody sees her, please call 911. Notice that tweet has a timestamp of 4:22 a.m. on October 2nd. If we go over to the LVMPD's Twitter site or Twitter feed, oops, wrong thing. Well, there's the picture of her vehicle. Their tweet has a timestamp of 5:22 a.m. Okay. Go back over here. Then there's a tweet that comes out a little over an hour after the first one. We have located the vehicles in question, meaning her Hyundai Tucson and his van, and we are confident we have located the female person of interest. Timestamp 5:37 a.m. Go over to the Twitter feed. Come on, computer. What is this thing doing? Oh my gosh. It's not what I wanted to do. Hold on. Sorry about that. So, their tweet shows 6:37 a.m. We have located the vehicles in question, the vehicles, plural, and we are confident we have located the female person of interest. Now, when I was reading this, it says they have located the woman who may have been Las Vegas shooting suspect Stephen Paddock's roommate. She's been identified as MARILOU DANLEY. She is in police custody. But then at the bottom, it says the Clark County Sheriff said at the time of the shooting, Danley was not in the country. I disagree. And I've got some radio traffic that you really need to take a listen to. I'm sure this is who they're talking about. Danley was at Mandalay Bay. Danley was there for sure. She, I believe that they caught her on the 6th floor of the parking garage in Mandalay Bay. And the depths that these people have went to cover this up and to lie is just unbelievable. It blows my mind what they've done and how many lies have been told, the depths that they have went to. We're going to take a listen to that radio traffic right now. So, I found this radio traffic, and this is from All Area Command, and at about 4:15 a.m., 4:15 and 53 seconds, you'll hear where somebody calls dispatch, and they just said that they had somebody run from them on the 6th floor of the parking garage at Mandalay Bay. Now, this same time period, 4:15 a.m., if I look at North Las Vegas, their radio traffic from that night, that time period is missing. From 4:15 a.m., or actually from 4:12 to 4:18 a.m., those minutes are gone because they don't want us to hear. I don't think they've taken anything, literally taking anything out of the all area command because that's the main one. So I think they think people would notice that. But I have found a little key to their lies and what they don't want us to know. So I've went back and I'm looking at any time periods of any command centers that I can find that have time periods that are missing. I take that time period and I go back to whatever does have that time period in there and that tells me what they don't want us to know. So let's take a listen to this.
SD21, 29, I apologize. We have one on for the 6th floor of the park garage.
What do you have on the 6th floor?
Looks like an Asian female ran from us from the 6th floor parking garage.
Okay, what hotel?
Mandalay Bay.
Any description, direction of travel?
29, I apologize. We have one on for the 6th floor of the parking garage.
What do you have on the 6th floor?
Looks like an Asian female ran from us from the 6th floor parking garage.
Okay, what hotel?
Mandalay Bay.
I feel 100% confident that that Asian female that ran from them is MARILOU DANLEY. Now, a couple minutes later, we're going to hear when they take her into custody. Here's the traffic that says they've got one in custody. The traffic that we just heard was at like 4:15 a.m. and this is going to be at 4:16, so almost 4:17, about a minute and a half later. And like I said, I feel 100% confident that the person that they have in custody is MARILOU DANLEY. Let's take a listen.
SD21, we have one suspect.
SD21, copy that.
SD21, we have one suspect.
SD21, copy that.
That was MARILOU DANLEY. MARILOU DANLEY was at Mandalay Bay. She was there during the time of the shooting. There are some other things that I found that support it, and I have to go back and find those. But I just wanted to get this out because I think it's so important that they were spinning this story from minute one. They didn't even start tweeting out that they were really looking for her until after they already had her in custody. Other than when they supposedly breached the room and found her player's card with her name on it, people had that information, but they did not tweet out that they were looking for her or her vehicle until 4:22 a.m. They take her into custody at 4:16 a.m. So guess what? The game you're playing, LVMPD, we're figuring it out. This was another thing that tipped me off. This is all area command radio traffic starting at 2:01, October 2nd, and at 2:23 a.m., the dispatch gets a hold of the control or the incident command, whatever, command post to say that they had a caller that called, says they from California, that they know MARILOU DANLEY, and they started describing her vehicle. And I thought, well, if she's in the Philippines and these people know it, why would they be talking about what kind of vehicle she drives? Let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
Just be advised, everybody, this 0433, we had a peer calling in advising that they possibly know the suspect, MARILOU. on the stairs calling from California. Licensed people driving a red Hyundai.
If we get a phone number and we're going to let the investigative details.
Okay, sir. I've got a phone number down here. Safety Central. Just give us a copy to 0433. We had a peer calling in advising that they possibly know where the suspect, MARILOU, on the stairs calling from California. Licensed people driving a red Hyundai.
If we get a phone number and we're going to let the investigative details.
Okay, sir. I've got a phone number down here.
So, I think the 0433, meaning that person from California called in at 2:04 and 33 seconds. And again, I thought, if they know her and know where she's at, why would they be talking about what kind of vehicle she drives? Because if she was in the Philippines, that really wouldn't be relevant, would it? Also, if you take a look at the preliminary report, I have mine in a binder now. I know I'm a geek about this. But what I did yesterday was I just started looking through the sequence of events, and starting at September 25th through October 1st. It says, Paddock checked in on September 25th, but when he checked into the room 134 on the 29th, he did so under Danley's name. Okay. What I did was I just took a highlighter and highlighted any time it said he was gambling. So at approximately 11:08 on the 26th, he began gambling at Mandalay Bay, continued gambling into the next morning. September 27th, I don't think he really did any gambling on the 27th, but the 28th, at approximately 10:18, he began gambling at Mandalay Bay and continued gambling into the next morning. The 29th, that's when the whole room thing starts. He checked in supposedly with her under her name. At 11:11, there was a room service ticket totaling $102.99, and that was charged to Danley's name. At approximately 15:06, believe that's 3:06, Paddock checked into room 134 under Danley's name. The 30th, says he was in and out and putting the do not disturb signs on the doors and stuff. It's all bullshit. Where was the one? We want to get to the day where it says he was gambling with her player's card. I know it's in here. Right here. So then October 1st, Paddock walked around the casino and gambled. Paddock used both his own and Danley's player's card. Now, if he was going to use her player's card, why didn't he use it the other times that he gambled? That doesn't make sense to me. Like on the 26th, when he gambled, starting at 11:08 and continued through the next morning. Didn't use Danley's player card then, did he? Yeah, he gambled until 7 o'clock in the morning. The 28th, he began gambling at 11:18 and continued into the next morning until 5 o'clock in the morning. Didn't use Danley's player's card then. But now remember, the 29th is when supposedly he checks into room 134 using her player's card. On the 30th, it doesn't say he gambled at all. On the 1st, at 2 o'clock in the morning, oh, he left, blah, 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 blah. What does it say? On the 1st, that was when he supposedly used Danley's name at the valet. He gambled from 3 o'clock in the morning until 7, used Danley's player's card and his own. He used his and Danley's player's card. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. What does make sense is that MARILOU Danley was there. MARILOU Danley was ordering food. MARILOU Danley checked into room 134. MARILOU Danley drove his van or whatever and brought it back into the valet. It makes sense to have Danley's name coming up because MARILOU Danley was there. MARILOU Danley gambled with Stephen Paddock from 3:24 a.m. until 7:34 a.m. on October 1st. It wasn't him using both their players' cards. That does not make sense. At noon, she moved his van from the South Park to the valet. That was the only parking transaction during his stay at Mandalay Bay that was completed in Danley's name. Why? Because it was MARILOU Danley that did it, and it was the only time that she used his van or moved his van. That's why her name was on that valet ticket. That's why her name was on that room service ticket, because she was there. So I cannot believe that they think we're this stupid. It may take us a while because they've really turned this into a convoluted piece of shit report that is confusing. But if you separate things out and take a look at them just for that one thing, for what it is, remember not to drink their Kool-Aid and forget the narrative that they've told us, we're going to be able to see this picture and this puzzle. We're fitting the pieces together. And it's, like I said, it may take us a little bit, but myself personally, I'm really starting to understand the tactics and the playbook they were using when they wrote this report and as this event was unfolding. So ay. Those shoes, these flip-flops right here, those are MARILOU Danley's flip-flops. I would bet $1 million on it. Those are MARILOU Danley's flip-flops. I'm not sure why she was staying in room 134 and he was in 135, but I can tell you those are her flip-flops. Those are why those are on the floor. She was there that night. She was there that night, and I haven't had a chance to go back, but listening to radio traffic from some other command centers, they had a call from somebody at 11:30 that night on the 1st. The call didn't even get answered until about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I can't remember. But it was about a 425B, which is a suspicious vehicle that was parked across the way, across I-15 at a gas station facing Mandalay Bay, and it was a Hyundai Tucson. And the person had the wits enough about him to call it in. Now, I can't remember if I don't know when the description of her vehicle came out, but that's another thing that I want to go back and look at. But I think that they had her in custody. They had her in custody before they tweeted out at 4:22 a.m. that they were looking for her and her vehicle. Then at around 4:45, it was like something changed with the radio traffic. At Mandalay Bay, it was like, okay, the zebra team's done with their operation now. We can get people in here to secure the crime scene and stuff, you know. So if Paddock was dead, they found him dead at 11:20. Why was it 4:45 the next morning when they finally started to ramp things down at Mandalay Bay? There's a lot more to this story, guys. We all know that. We all know that. And we're now starting to really fit these pieces of the puzzle together. I'm working on a couple other things. The stuff that I was working on yesterday. But then I got another project, another thing that somebody wants me to look at. And it's about stolen cop cars that night. So that's going to be my next video. And hopefully I can get that around here shortly. And I'll be uploading that. So I really appreciate you watching. Please share this. Please. It's important. I believe MARILOU DANLEY was there that night. Why the big lie? Why the big lie, Sheriff Joe and Aaron Rouse, saying that she was out of the country? She was out of the country. At some point, she came back to the Philippines on the 25th, and then she came to Mandalay Bay. She was at Mandalay Bay on the 29th through October 2nd. Did they get her back out of the country? Was that all just a big dog and pony show at the airport? I'm not sure. But they made her disappear for a couple days before they showed us the footage from, getting her at the airport, which was complete bullshit. They put her in hiding. They sent her back to the Philippines. Hell, who knows? We're going to figure it out, though. So anyways, please like, share this, very important. Subscribe. Let me know what you think. I'll talk to you soon.